I can't do this.
We'll just have them watch it on YouTube.
No, it won't work, Charles. This isn't gonna work. It has to be done right
Okay,
because
hold on.
that video is everything to the presentation. I
Hold
can't
on.
have them watch it. It has to play. Share screen. Share. What
Share
is
audio. Oh, go to the three dots. No. It should be
playback
able to
speed?
share it. Just add to stream.
Yeah.
Can you play it now? Let me try. Let's see.
You don't hear that?
Hold on. No. I don't hear it.
What if I go like this? Can you hear it now?
I'll try and share screen. Yeah.
Can you hear that? Well, that's what I'm gonna have to do. Put my
Yes.
I'm gonna have to put my microphone. I mean my headphones over my mic.
Okay.
Okay, are we live yet?
Yep.
Okay, I'm just gonna hit play on
You're
this.
live.
Is there?
Go ahead.
Okay, everybody, I'm trying to get this video to work because before I give a talk on the rainbow frequencies and the frequencies of the rainbow colors, I want you to see this video. So we're gonna hit play and go like that.
Hi,
And
this is David
then you
Sereda
go
from the Gospel of Philip, which is a Gnostic Christian gospel that was removed. The Lord went into the
Turn it up.
diverse of Levi. The tribe of Levi are tribes of the bloodline of Moses and his brother Aaron. So the Lord went into the dye works of Levi. He took 72 different colors and threw them into a vat. He took them out all white, and he said, even so, has the Son of Man come as a dyer? This is to say that Jesus taught the rainbow body activation of the light body using 8 octaves of a music scale times the 9 colors equals 72 colors. He is speaking about in the Gospel of Philip. And in fact, at the time of Christ, we have no evidence that they even knew all 9 colors or the 8 octave music scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do are the 8 octaves that we teach in our music scale times the 9 colors equals the magic number 72. 9 pure colors are red, orange, yellow, lemon, green, turquoise, blue, indigo, and violet times the 8 octaves of the music scale equals 72. And that would have to mean these are actual frequencies, audible frequencies, because an octave is usually expressed as an audible musical tone. So this is how we get full spectrum rainbow body light activation, by doing the tones of the colors. Now, if we start at the top of the trillion hertz frequencies of each color coming from the sun, and we come down 48 octaves of each color, again, red, orange, yellow, lemon, green, turquoise, blue, indigo, and violet, are each vibrating in the trillion hertz spectrum. And what I did is I started with the highest number for the color, and I came down 48 octaves, and it equals the frequencies of the delta part of the human brain, which is 1 to 4.5 to 5 hertz. So they all come down lower than that perfectly. So if we take 48 frequencies or octave of each color times the 9 colors, we come to the magic number again, 432. This means there are a total of 432 color frequencies, starting at the actual frequency of the sunlight colors, coming down octaves equal to the delta part of the brain. This is all done perfectly mathematically for your use. This is full rainbow body activation. From the Gospel of Philip, we continue. God is the dyer. As the good dyes which are called true dissolve with the things dyed in them, so it is with those whom God has dyed. Since his dyes are immortal, they become immortal by means of his colors. Now God dips what he dips in water. So of course the sunlight goes into the water, the colors go into the water, and the Spirit of God is in the color frequencies. And when God dyes a person with God's Spirit, God is actually dyeing the colors of the rainbow body activation into the person. So this means that in the Gospel of Philip is teaching us to activate our rainbow body with these color frequencies, and it numbers them. Why would Jesus say 72 colors? Because again, 9 colors times 8 octaves. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's 8 octaves. Equals the number 72. So this is the first time in history we will have a full 72 color frequency activation. And the way you do this is the higher frequencies, because if you want to do all 48 octaves of the 9 colors, you can use my coil systems, my wands, or you can or my bed systems, or you can also use the color band charts. So when you're doing the frequencies, you just have to look on your computer screen at the perfect color that you're working with, and the highest frequencies of the colors can be used with my staff or sectors.
Did you hear that okay? Okay, so what's happening? Good.
I
I'm
heard it
glad
okay. Did everyone else?
Yeah, looks like they did. So that's the basis for this astounding revelation that I've made in regards to the colors. And you're going to see almost every known healing frequency that you're probably aware of and more will correspond to an octave. If we start at the top where the light leaves the sun, and you can see I've been in the sun a lot with my kids in the last month. I'm turning orange here. So what happens is when we start at the top and we come down musical octaves all the way down, and we come all the way down to the bottom of the human brain waves. It's really incredible when you look at the numbers. It reminds me of the movie The Matrix. You know, all I see is numbers and codes, and you go, "Oh my God, the Earth frequency is a green octave, and therefore the plants are all green on Earth; they're not blue." So therefore, you see how perfectly. No, you're going to see this in a minute. How all known healing frequencies correspond to a musical octave of color, and we start from the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to share screen here. You're going to see my research, what it looks like. And I got to go back to share screen in StreamYard to do this. And then this time you don't need to worry about the audio portion. And then can you see my word file here? So on Earth, nearly all frequencies start inside the color spectrum of white light from the sun. Each color has a maximum purity frequency. So that means each color, it actually, actually, I need to change this to lemon here. Hang on a second.
Crystal, can you not see that?
Can you guys see my Word document here?
Okay, yes, now. Okay.
Okay, so what happens is, and I've even seen astronomers do this. I've seen radio astronomers take a frequency, a radio frequency that's just super high frequency, And radio frequencies are lower in frequencies than the frequency that leaves the sun. So the sun, all the colors, there's 9 colors. You have red, orange, yellow, lemon, green, cayenne, which is really turquoise. I'm just going to change this to turquoise. Turquoise, blue, indigo, and violet. So those are your primary colors. And colors like scarlet are composite colors, right? So you have 9 primary colors. And it's remarkable in the Gospel of Philip that Jesus is referring to 72 colors, because the fact that Jesus is referring to 72 colors and that 9 colors times 8 musical octaves, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, means that he's speaking about a secret color frequency music scale, which is what I've decoded here. Now, I have seen another very profound color frequency researcher. His name was Darius Dinsaw. He wrote a book called Let There Be Light. And he and a nurse and some doctors were curing people of all sorts of illnesses using color and the color frequencies. But he only used 3 octaves of colors. But actually, I'm using all the octaves. And when we get to the audible range, there just happens to be 432 frequencies that fit with, actually, in there's 72 frequencies that fit in the audible range, and there's 432 frequencies that fit all the way down to the human brainwave frequencies. So I'm going to show you how I do this. For example, I'm going to start with green. So you can see here, all the colors are in the terahertz, which means trillions of waves per second. So the color red, the central band, the maximum purity of red is 436 trillion hertz. Okay, so what I'm going to do, can you see my calculator, Sharose, when I put it up here?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put 436.
Bigger,
What's that?
maybe make it a little bigger, though.
You can't make it bigger.
Yeah, you can. You can drag it and make it bigger.
No, it won't drag here. No.
Okay, never mind. Carry on.
Okay, so 436 with 12 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let me just double check that I didn't. So this is million, billion, trillion. Okay, 436 trillion. Now, a musical octave. So let's say I'm going to take an A note, A4. 432 or A440, you divide it by 2 to go down an octave, and you multiply it by 2 to go up. But because we're at the top of the frequency of the sunlight, I'm going to divide this by 2, and I'm going to keep coming down. Down, down, down. I'm just clicking divided by 2, and I'm just coming down, coming down, coming down, all the way down, 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 right? 396.5. Now, what's amazing about 396.5 is that's solfeggio 396. Have you ever heard of the solfeggio frequency 396? Well, it's you got to remember, each color has a band of range around the master number until you get to your next color, orange, right? So the fact that solfeggio 396 is red, and also solfeggio 417 is red-orange, which is really scarlet, because scarlet is like, our blood is red to red-orange. So human blood is solfeggio 396 and solfeggio 417. Okay, so that means those solfeggio tones are in perfect synchronicity to the color vibration of human blood. But what's also amazing about red is when I take the frequency of the staff of Aaron or Moses at 2.5 cubits, and what I do here is a staff acting as an antenna, as a monopole antenna, has a wavelength coming off of it 4 times its height. It's like a perfect square. right? It's really amazing how this works. This is real radio wave science. It's not pie in the sky fiction. So when I take the speed of light in qubits, which I had to resolve myself mathematically using the most perfect world qubit, and I come down, 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 it turns out the staff of Aaron and Moses is red orange, which is kind of like a scarlet, which is really, or the color, it's actually more orange than scarlet. It's like the color of the setting sun in the east. So the staff, this is really remarkable. It's not only the root of human life and the color of human blood. It is sometimes referred to also because the staff of Isa, the Bakal Isu, meaning the staff of Jesus. If you read Mark 6, 1 through 8, you can see that Jesus told all of his apostles they have to have their staff, and Jesus would have had his staff. The resurrection of life that is dying, you're using the octaves of red and orange, the fire, the base of life. So what's amazing about this frequency, and also how it corresponds perfectly to the A note in our music scale, whether you're using A432 or A440, you're red, you're basically at red and to red orange. And A444 was used by John Lennon. It has even more orange, but it's really red orange, right? So that the octave, this is what's remarkable. If I keep coming down with the frequency of the staff of Aaron and Moses, I'm going to come all the way down to an A note, right? And I can do this right in front of you. I'm going to show you how this works. So I'm going to go to my
I'd
other.
love to see that.
I'll show you how it works. So
Is there some kind of software? Is there some kind of software that correlates the frequency to the color that you know of?
No. I'm the one who's done this. There's nobody else who's done this. So I would have to create that software, right?
So we'd have to create a software.
Speed of light in qubits, right? So
right.
This is the speed of light, and you can see I've got tons of decimals in accuracy, right? So because the staff of Aaron, according to the book of Hebrews and many other books in the Bible, lay in the Ark of the Covenant, we can safely assume, because the Ark of the Covenant is 2.5 cubits, that the staff is 2.5 cubits. But you got to use the right cubit, and I'm not going to go into that today because I have mastered the absolute perfect cubit, which resolves everything flawlessly from Noah's Ark to the Ark of the Covenant to the height of the Great Pyramid of Egypt to absolute perfection with no zeros left over. So when I take the speed of light in qubits, right, I put that in my calculator. That's the speed of light in qubits. Now, if the height of the staff as a monopole antenna is 2.5 cubits, its wavelength is times 4. So that's really easy. So then it's 10, because 2.5 times 4 is 10, right? So you take the speed of light divided by 10, and that's the frequency of the staff of Moses and Jesus and all the prophets. Now I'm going to divide that by a musical octave 2, and I'm going to keep coming down, 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 down. I'm just dividing it by 2 as I'm clicking, and I'm going to come all the way down to 437. You see that's red, right? That's 437 is a smidgen away from 432, right? It's between 432 and our traditional A note is at A440, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but of course, I have tons of decimals of accuracy here, right? And when I calculate frequencies, I leave all those decimals in. I don't take them out when I generate a frequency. So 437.108 is a perfect octave of the staff of Moses, which is remarkably close to 432. You have to understand how close that is. And it is purely red. This is purely red because red is 396. That's the center of red. And orange would be 452, right? So I could safely say, actually, I'm at a red-orange setting sun on the 432 note and 430 sun. I'm definitely at a red-orange note, and that would be the color of the setting sun in the Middle East, absolutely to perfection, what that is, right? So now let's keep going. So we've done that, and we see that the function of that particular staff is to bring back life, right? And we also know from the Gnostic scriptures that Jesus was holding the Bakal Isu when he raised Lazarus from the dead. He used his staff. So he's activating the fire, the color of the base of fire in the human body that is mostly dead to bring it back to life. Okay, so now let's go to our gems. Our gems for ruby is obviously a red. A ruby is a red gem. You can also use garnets, which can range from red to red orange, and rubies can actually range from red to red violet, actually, which is really phenomenal. So those are your gems that match. So now let's go to the color orange, and we can see that you doing the same math coming all the way down. And this is another thing that is incredible, because each person on Earth has a certain height, right down to, I can measure a person's height accurate to 1/4 of an inch, and I can calculate their wavelength coming off their spine and calculate their frequency and their frequency octave. And that means every one of us is going to come in at a certain color. Now, I didn't get any matches yet to certain frequencies for the color orange, but the gems for orange that I can think of are orange carnelian, and of course, orange carnelians, and there are other gems that are orange, but there's nothing like an orange carnelian. And yellow, for some reason, I also, with all the master frequencies that we're aware of, I didn't get one that comes in at yellow, right? So yellow gems are yellow topaz, yellow sapphires, which are quite rare, and yellow sulfur. Now, lemon also did not come in at anything. So when I get to green, we got to the frequency of Earth, right? And I'm going to show you how this actually happens. So green starts at 556. Let me just double check this. Green, it's 556 trillion hertz. So I want you to actually see this, because this is remarkable how it comes to the Earth frequency. So 556 with 12 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I'm going to divide that by 2. And I'm going to come down. I'm just coming down an octave. Multiple octaves. These are all octaves of the color green that you're seeing here. All of these frequencies. Each one of these frequencies is very profound, and they go up into the, like right now I'm at 129,000 hertz. You can't hear that. 64,000 hertz, 32,000 hertz, 16,000 hertz. Now notice this number. What is that number? That's golden ratio, 1 to 1.618. There it is. So green is an octave of 1618. I'm going to keep coming down, 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 down. There. Now, the Tesla-Schumann resonance is 7.83 hertz, which is a smidgen away from 7.901235.2, right? It's, in fact, there are readings of the Earth. Okay, the Earth master frequency is 7.83 fundamental, but it oscillates and deviates on either side. And I've even seen it hit 8. It definitely hits 7.9. It's not always 7.83. That's a fundamental number. So the Earth is absolutely green. absolutely green, right? And the solfeggio frequency, the love frequency, right? Notice the is a 528, is a green coming into turquoise, but it's not turquoise. It's between green and turquoise. So it's really, really beautiful green, right? Is the solfeggio 528 frequency, right? Right. And 4.32 billion hertz, gigahertz, is also green turquoise, which is a basis of the number 432. It's a function of 432. But now I've come up to gigahertz. Now, notice when I go back to red, right? 432 gigahertz is red. 432 megahertz is red. Isn't that incredible? That is the master 432. So whether it's 432 itself in megahertz or gigahertz, it comes in at red. So we know what 432 is about, right? It's root chakra, fire, coming back to life. Now, green gems are chromium diopside. A lot of people don't know about, is a much more affordable emerald color, natural color green gem. And of course, emeralds, which are super expensive, are not really that color. They're usually dyed, or they use heat, or they use oils to bring out the color of an emerald. But emeralds really need a nice oil to be that color, to vibrate at that color. But there you go, your solfeggio 528 love frequency. And notice green is the color of the heart chakra. How perfect is that? That 528 solfeggio, which is also an octave of the planet Venus, by the way. 528 is an octave of the frequency of the planet Venus, right? So now we come into an incredible color, which is turquoise. And the Holy of Holies temple in Solomon's temple was, at the time of Moses, the Holy of Holies was 10 by 10 by 10 cubits. And at the time of Solomon, it doubled times 2, which is an octave. So it means the God of the prophets is multiplying by instruction to make the Holy of Holies 1 octave lower, because if the temple got bigger, the frequency got lower because the wavelength
So
is
that's
bigger.
by design then.
That's by design. So at the time of Moses, when it was 10 by 10 by 10, and the Queen's Chamber in the Great Pyramid is 10 by 10 cubits, using the perfect royal cubit. And the book of Ezekiel absolutely confirms that God uses the cubit plus a handbreadth, which is a royal cubit. Even though the Bible never calls it a royal cubit, it is a royal cubit. According to the prophet in Ezekiel, a cubit plus a hand is mentioned more than 5 times in Ezekiel. So a 1 cubit antenna staff, which, because a cubit antenna staff is so small, comes in at the octave of turquoise. Does the Holy of Holies temple itself. So the Holy of Holies temple itself is a turquoise energy. Incredible. It's incredible what this really means, right? And also in the book of Ezekiel, it's right up here, the angel is holding a 6-cubit staff, right? And a 6-cubit staff comes in at turquoise. And I'm going to actually show you this, right? So let's go back to the speed of light in cubits. I'm going to put this in my calculator right here. And then you're going to go, that's the speed of light in cubits, but he's holding 6 cubits times 4 is 28. So I'm going to divide that by its wavelength. If that's the frequency of a 6-cubit staff, I'm going to divide that by 2, which is my octave. I'm going to come down. There's the 5-1, Shiros, the 5-1-1-5. I'm going to come down all of my octaves, which are just musical octave shifts. And I'm going to come down. There's 624.44, right? And there is...
It's amazing that they land on the same harmonic ratios that you've come up with before.
Yeah. I'm at 624. So I'm at let me go 1 up times 2. You see, I'm actually between 624, 505. No, I'm definitely in turquoise. I'm definitely really in turquoise. So the angel coming down to give dimensions of the temple to Ezekiel is holding a 6-cubit staff, and that is one huge staff. And that means this angel is a huge angel. But the angel's staff is vibrating in turquoise. The Holy of Holies is vibrating in turquoise. And a 1-cubit scepter is vibrating in turquoise. So, of course, your turquoise gems are aquamarine and turquoise. I mean, I'm wearing an aquamarine right here on my bracelet, a frequency charged aquamarine, right? And so, I mean, again, this stuff, it just gets more and more and more incredible. These are master frequencies. Turquoise would have to be more mysterious than you can imagine for the angel holding the 6-cubit staff, the Holy of Holies itself. And it doesn't matter whether it's the 10, but that would be the Queen's Chamber as well, right? Because the original Holy of Holies at the time of Moses was 10 by 10 cubits. And then the time of Solomon, it multiplies by an octave, which would make it the same. It's still turquoise because those two temples are only 1 octave apart in wavelength as a solid state wavelength temple. A temple as a frequency tuner, right? So, and the fact that the 1 cubit comes in at turquoise again is even more amazing, right? So the power of an aquamarine and turquoise gems is immense in working with Holy of Holies frequencies. And why is the angel in Ezekiel vibrating, his staff is vibrating in turquoise, but the staff of the prophets at 2.5 cubits is vibrating at red orange? Because this is an ascended being. This is a being that doesn't physically live on earth. Moses and the prophets and Jesus are all living on earth. So they're holding a 2.5 cubit staff that is the vibrating at the color of the setting sun. I mean, that just has incredible tie-ins right there. So when we get to the frequency of blue at 652 trillion hertz, which again is the center of blue, you have a little bit of latitude on either side of it before you get to your next color. Solfeggio 285 is blue. Now, what I haven't done is taken the musical notes on our modern music scale yet and put them in here, but I'll be updating this, and you'll see where A, B, C, D, F, G, and your flats and sharps on your piano, where they line up inside of the rainbow, right? And of course, then each color of a gem has a certain function for healing and spiritual experience. Of course, blue gems are sapphire, blue topaz, and blue kyanite. Blue kyanite is beautiful stuff, much more affordable than a real sapphire is incredibly expensive. And now here's again, we're going to come into indigo. Of course, now indigo is a color that's spoken about a lot in the spiritual communities because of indigo children, and indigo being the color of the inner eye. The Great Pyramid capstone base comes in at a perfect octave of the color indigo. It's perfect. And then in what's called the Temple Scroll, which is in the Dead Sea Scrolls, an angel is holding a 7-cubit staff. And the 7-cubit staff comes in at a frequency of indigo. So you have 2 angels, and the angel in the Temple Scroll is giving Moses instructions to build 3 courtyards surrounding the Holy of Holies. And the innermost courtyard measurement, get this, is the height of the Great Pyramid to perfection. why would the God of the prophets be using a 280 cubit inner sanctum for the Holy of Holies when the height of the Great Pyramid resolves at 280 cubits perfectly? I mean, perfectly, right? Which is a base of the number 28, and 28 is an octave of 14. So, which of course is an octave of the number 7, right? And then 7 cubit staff. Do you see what I'm saying? Right? So the miracle around the angel holding the 7 cubit staff in the book called the Temple Scroll, which was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, shows God using the same functional math as the Great Pyramid of Egypt to perfection. Right? To perfection. So the solfeggio 639 is mostly indigo with a tad of violet. So 639, of course, is another solfeggio frequency, right? And then you have the angel with the 6 cubit staff, and the capstone base of the Great Pyramid is also indigo. I just find this miraculous. And the only gem I can think of that is true indigo would be a deep sapphire, right? And this gem here, this is Alexandrite in my pendant here with real gold. And this is the same stone from Aswan, Egypt, that the Great Pyramid of Egypt core masonry is from the Aswan granite. So this is kind of getting into indigo, but it's the Alexandrites can be indigo and they can be more violet, right? So now when I come to violet, which is the highest visible frequency color that the human eye sees, we don't see ultraviolet light because we're going to go into ultraviolet, but bees and certain birds can see ultraviolet light. And there was one artist, a very, very famous artist, trying to remember his name, who could see ultraviolet light. So Solfeggio 174, guess what, is ultraviolet. Now, ultraviolet is divided into near, far, and extreme, right? So Solfeggio 174 is ultraviolet. It's an octave of an invisible frequency to humans. Very, very important number, right? Because you can take your 174 solfeggio and multiply it by its octave and work with the full band of 174.
So wasn't it Monet? Wasn't it Monet who could see ultraviolet?
It's Claude Monet, right? And I went into an altered state of consciousness in the New York Metropolitan Museum of Art looking at a Claude Monet. I was just tears pouring down my face, and I don't know why. That was. I mean, so the fact that we're in ultraviolet is remarkable here in solfeggio. It does not fit in violet as an octave. It fits in ultraviolet. Violet gems are diamond, amethyst, tanzanite, sapphire, great garnet, and alexandrite. I should put, because I'm wearing one of those. And right. I mean, these are important to understand the use of gems. And what really amazed me here, Sharoz, is the frequency that Jimmy Blanchette has been using to make contact with the higher intelligence of the universe is 1.441 megahertz.
Yeah.
And that's an octave of near ultraviolet. So he's using these radios, and he's getting incredible mathematics and information and real numbers coming in on these radios. That's a whole other story. And the frequency of 1.441 gigahertz is an octave of near violet. Now, so hydrogen...
That's the crown, right?
Well, no, that's upper crown. Because violet is the crown. No, the third eye is indigo. The crown chakra is violet, but ultraviolet is... There's more than one crown chakra. There's 2 to 3 more. When you start experiencing this supreme bliss that comes in up here, you'll see where they are. Right now, I want you to see this because the frequency of the hydrogen window, which radio astronomers use because hydrogen is the most abundant element of the universe, is 1.420 billion hertz, which is an octave of violet, just coming to near UV. But notice that 1441 billion hertz is just a smidgen above the hydrogen window, which means for radio astronomy, it comes in very clear. Right. So what's amazing again is that some human blood can when human blood dries, it kind of has a reddish purple to it, which is red and violet, and I'm not sure if the what I mean. It's really hard to find the color of human blood, in that we are it's probably more about the human blood is more about the hang on, I'm just going to stop my share screen here. Is our blood is my face is so red orange. See, my face is the color of the staff of Moses, because I've been going swimming with my kids every day here, just burning to a crisp, getting in a lot of sun. So it's really incredible to see this. Like when you it's like I said in the beginning of this talk tonight, it's like the Matrix. And when you work like I ran through my coil systems, through my bed systems, because I have this whole rainbow frequency package, which nobody else has, because Darius Dinsaw only has 3 octaves of the rainbow colors, and I have 8 octaves times 9 colors. And I created 2 different types of packages. I did a package where each color, we go up each octave. So if you just want to work with red, or if you want to just work with orange, or you just want to work with turquoise. And then I went the other way, which is where when you lay on the bed, you're going through the entire rainbow. So you're doing rainbow 1, rainbow 2, rainbow 3, etc., so that you're activating all of the rainbows within you, right? And that, when I did that for a week, I woke up in the middle of the night when it's pitch dark, and of course your pupils are really dilated in the middle of the night, and I literally saw a rainbow around me with my eyes open. I'm not kidding. These frequencies are so perfect. And like I said, the fact that the frequency of the earth comes in at green and all your plants are green means this is perfect. So we are the rainbow because we're receiving sunlight, right? And we are beings of the rainbow, and we are beings of our sun. And the fact that the staff of Moses tunes in at the color of the setting sun can create many mysterious questions and investigations, in that our sun, when it's setting, of course our sun has all the colors in it, but when it's cutting through the atmosphere, you're cutting out a lot of those other colors, and you're getting the red orange, right? When the sun is straight overhead on a clear day, it's mostly white. It's like a really bright yellowy white. If you look at it, I mean, you can't look at the sun when it's straight overhead. The people who are doing the sun gazing, you do it when it's rising and when it's setting, but you don't look at the sun when it's straight overhead. But you can do that for a second, and you can see it's pure white, right? But you can also see in that whiteness, you can actually see all the colors are there. All the colors are there. So the purpose of working with the frequencies of the colors and going up and up and up, and then to take a person's height and find out where do they fit in the colors of the rainbow, right? Like, that's going to be a lot of fun, because we've had a lot of people get their personal frequencies ordered on my site at davidsereda.co, and then they can work with their personal frequencies based on their height. And of course, shorter people are higher in frequency than taller people. So I'm 6 feet and a smidgen, so I would be lower frequency than somebody who's 5'1". So really, really amazing to activate your rainbow frequencies, and again to tune yourself, and eventually find out, based on your height, what is your color are you an octave of? I haven't actually done this for myself yet, but I'm going to do it really soon. So I can take a few questions before I go.
I don't see any questions. They're all comments. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, marijuana, of course it's green. Somebody's talking about ganja, LSD. Yeah. But there are our leaf-based plants, even though, remember, when a leaf is green, it's not just green, right? It has a lot of colors in it. And the color, what we call brown, is kind of a mixture of orange and green, right? So there's a lot of other nuanced colors that are composite colors on the earth. And I've gone to Hawaii and laid on the nude beach there when I was in my 20s, and my skin is purple. It's black purple. My skin goes black purple when I get an excessive amount of sun. Like when this red kind of dies off, I was black purple. And I think a lot of people in Africa are black purple. So they have a lot of violet in their skin tone, right? And so all the different races, of course, we're all different nuances.
Well, all the Hindu gods were blue purpley color.
Right, and your tuning forks are usually tuned to the chromatic scale. So the modern music scale. So I have to show where those notes fit in. So where does the tuning fork fit into which color, right? Yeah. Why was Krishna blue? I mean, Krishna was blue because Krishna was it's more blue violet actually. So
right.
So that's the octave of the aura, and many people. I mean, I've seen Rama, Sita, and Hanuman in blazing blue light when I was at a yoga retreat when I was 13 years old, appear right in front of me with that true blue aura, spectacular aura. I mean, again,
all three of them, right?
I saw Rama, Sita, and Hanuman. I didn't even know who they were. I never even seen a picture of them before in my life. I was 13 years old. Right. Yeah. So a lot of the black people are going to be purple. There's purple in there. You can see it. There's beautiful purple. All of our races are so beautiful to me, like all of them. I'm so mixed up in my DNA, what I am and what my kids are. Oh my God, we're just humans because we've got so much different DNA in us, right? And the sun's frequency, actually, William, I actually, based on the circumference of the sun, I need to calculate what its octave is. That's something I've got to do. I can do the math on that. Definitely. What is my favorite book? I read so many books. I've read hundreds and hundreds of books in my life. Being almost 61 years old and studying all this stuff. I think reading Darius Dinsa's Let There Be Light is really a good piece of work that goes in tandem with what I'm presenting here tonight. And it's really good to work Valerie Hunt told me that there are certain frequencies that she used in the lab at University of Southern California, Los Angeles, to regrow bones. And there's certain frequencies and colors they use to reduce inflammation, right? So each color has a function. And we might be deprived of a certain color, but not only certain colors, because my next talk is going to be about electrolytes, which are the crystals that we ingest in our diet, and how when we're deficient in certain crystals in our diet, electrolytes, we can have serious problems with depression, lack of energy, and even what is called mental illness can actually appear.
Somebody's asking the question, what are the secret Russian frequencies they discovered for age regression to reattach the telomeres for all DNA?
Well, I honestly don't know about that. The music is not a promulgation of power, having been attempted on even a 12-note resolving chromatic. It's 7 notes with flats and sharps, gives 12, right? So you have flats and sharps, but it's A, B, C, D, F, G, which is 7, right? But there are many different music scales in my work. I've decoded the whole scale of the Great Pyramid itself, which is a different music scale, which has much more pure transitions than our music scales. Then there's ancient music scales of the Greeks. There's the scales of the Egyptians. There's the East, the goddess Saraswati in India. There's so many different scales, and you're going to see all of our music. See, there's a. Have you ever heard of anybody heard of synesthesia? Some people who experience synesthesia, when they hear a tone, a music tone, they see a color.
It's
when
color, yeah.
When your senses cross over. It's called synesthesia. So really, all of the octaves coming off of the sun, and the octaves are real. They're not just human made. They actually exist in nature, right? There's different types of octaves. There's different shifts of octaves in nature. There's golden ratio octaves, and there's times 2 divided by 2 octaves. So there's a lot to say about the power of using frequencies if you're lacking in a certain color energy in your energy field. And if I gave you some really good indigo, I mean, this month I've been doing my deep breathing meditation, 45 minutes every morning, long, slow inhales through the nose and out through the mouth for 45 minutes. When I look at colors, I get so high because I'm feeling the color. I'm taking the color in. And when you're really high in meditation, there's certain colors that'll just tell you, wow. You'll just go, wow. Have you ever tried purple? Have you ever tried indigo? And when you get really tuned in, colors can really explode your mind and your consciousness. And when you get the frequency that matches that color and work with a series of octaves, you can go deeper into the color. Computer screens today are pretty amazing. In the early days, we didn't have a lot of nuances. We didn't have a lot of bands because each color has thousands of little different levels of that color. Right? That's why if you look at the numbers at the top, there's a bit of bandwidth in frequency in the trillion hertz bands from one color to the next, to the next, to the next. And then, of course, you can go into your ultraviolets, right? And then you can go all the way down into your infrareds. And even though infrareds are called reds, they're not really they're not really red. You don't see them. They're not visible light. Infrared is not visible light, but it travels at the speed of light, and we have real experiences there, and nuances of each color, and in hues of each color can be very, very particular. Like pistachio green, right, is kind of a green with turquoise, right? And it's a color I really like a lot. My favorite color has always been blue, but now it's more purple blue, which is a violet mixture.
Mine's always been blue too.
Yeah. And there's a book, or somebody asked about book. There's a book called Blue, A History of a Color. And that book argued whether the early Romans could even see the color blue, because it doesn't even appear on the landscape until much later. That our brains might be evolving to the point. I'm trying to remember the name of the author. This is a really deep, scholarly look at the history of the color blue, right? So when you're meditating,
that's Michelle Pasquaro.
Michelle Pasquaro, yeah, it's that book blew my mind. blue. But it did blow my mind. So, and also when we know how everybody has a favorite color, this is what I want to see. If I take your height and I calculate your wavelength, and your wavelength's just 4 times your height, and then we look at your frequency and we divide it by an octave, is it going to be your favorite color? That's what I want to know. All right, everybody, have a great night. It's been a lot of fun doing this. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone. I was going to add another comment, but David hung up. Okay. Huh. Have a great night, everyone. See you soon. See you next week, possibly.